Is Yahweh a Trinity? Father and Son, Trinity. Well, guess what? When Yeshua was administrating creation, when he was administrating the world, how many persons were there? But then what did Yahweh do? He took his word and he released his word, and now things started changing. Amen? What happened when Yahweh released his word? Activity, action, things started changing.
Power,
Yahweh. Yahweh created all things through Yeshua. Hallelujah. This is the mystery of fellowship. Now look at verse 10. So now through the assembly, the many-sided wisdom of Elohim may be made known to principalities and authorities in the heavenly places. Amen? So the ecclesia, or the assembly, has this wisdom that science is still trying to figure out. Man is still trying to figure this thing out. They're going to the History Channel. They're going to all the, arts and entertainment, the Arts and Entertainment Radio Network, TV network, trying to figure all this out. But the mystery is hidden here in the ecclesia. You're not listening. You're not listening. Listen. The same way Yeshua was hidden in the Father, this mystery of who Yeshua is hidden in the ecclesia. Are you with me? If you don't understand who Yeshua is, and you don't, the recipients of the declaration of the mystery, how are you going to teach others about the mystery? Let's read it again. I'm getting some set-apart looks here. So now, turn to your neighbor and say, so now. Verse 10. So now, through the ecclesia, the assembly, the multiple wisdom, the many-sided wisdom of Elohim, may be made known to principalities and authorities in the heavenlies, according to the everlasting purpose which he made in Messiah Yeshua, our Master. Are you with me? The wisdom of Elohim on display to principalities and powers is in here, in us, even as it was in the Father. That's why you're a child of Yahweh. That's why you're a child of the resurrection. That's why you're a child of light. That's why you're a child of promise. That's why you're a child. Because the same one that was in the Father is in the ecclesia. And we are now containing the mystery that was hidden in the Father in ages past. What was hidden in the Father in ages past? Yahshua. What became Yahshua? His word. And Yahshua said, you know something? The Father did this to me. I'm going to do it to Peter. I'm going to do it to Jethro. I'm going to do it to Kepha. The renaming of an individual to receive honor and glory was perfectly beheld by Yahshua, because in Yochanan 6, the word says that Yahshua was para Elohim, we learned last week, or beside the Father, right next to the Father. How much more next to him can you be than in? Are you with me? Is anyone getting this?
Yes.
Are you getting this? Study the creation. Yahweh is a creation scientist. He made the heavens and the earth by sucking out the water and allowing water on certain elements where he didn't expose the heavens and the earth. So the parts that are exposed, the heavens and the earth, appeared as he sucked out the water. Are you with me? How does he make us righteous? He sucks us out of this age. Are you with me? Where does someone go to find the truth? They've got to come to us. And that's why Yeshua said, let your light so shine before men, that when they see your good works, they may glorify your Father who is in heaven. We are to let the light out. Yes. Why? Because we've invited the light in. Hallelujah. Okay, and how does the world see Yeshua? By us being open as the Father draws men. Yeshua said in Yochanan 6:44, no man cometh to me except the Father draw him. And I will raise him on the last day. I will raise him on the last day. Is that the rapture you're talking about? Count me in. Yeah, Yeshua said, I am the resurrection and the life. Come on. So how is the world going to get saved, Ted? How are we going to witness? By shoving gospel messages and putting it under people's tambourines? No.
Shine, baby.
Just let it out. And when we take that mystery in us and allow the Ruach HaKodesh to pull it out, all men will see our light. Give him praise, somebody. But I tell you what, he was in the Father as the Word of the Father, but was he separate? Was he a separate person from the Father?
No.
Hello? Was he a separate person from the Father?
No.
Yes. And no. Not as long as he was what? In the Father. But once the Father pulled him out, what happened?
He became the Son.
He became the Son. Now all of a sudden, what happened? You had the Father and his Son, the Son Word. Not sundial, Son Word. And that Son Word became flesh. And now we saw what happened in eternity past. We acknowledge the mystery in the ecclesia that the Father pulled it out of himself.
Yes.
That's why he has to be Yahweh. Because if the Father pulled Yeshua out of another substance or another being outside of himself, outside of himself, he had to go outside of himself. He could not be of the same substance and essence. But the very fact that he went inside of himself to pull out a part of himself and recast it as his Son who became flesh, that proves that he is Yahweh. Turn to your neighbor and say, that proves. Go with me to Philippians 2. Is anyone enjoying?
Yes.
Am I preaching to myself this morning?
No.
You know, my wife's heard all my sermons. You guys, I want to minister to you. Pull it out of me. I need you to help me. A rabbi's best friend is a congregation full of cheerleaders.
Come on.
Rabbi Moshe, he's our man. If he can't do it, no one can. I wouldn't want to be a Baptist preacher. I get so depressed at looking at the brothers and sisters in the pews that I'll probably fall from frustration.
You would.
You know, he's looking at, everybody's looking at the preacher. The preacher's looking at everybody. You ever notice I don't wear a watch? Here's today's second Messianic quiz. When was the last time you saw Rabbi Moshe with a watch? Never. And you never will. Because that's my statement that's saying, I live outside of space and time.
Hallelujah.
My times and my seasons are in his hand.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Plus, if I want to tell the time, I just ask Martha.
Yes, that's true.
Philippians 2. Philippians 2. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Philippians 2, verse 5. Philippians 2, verse 5. Let this mind be in you, which was also in the Messiah, Yahusha, who being in the form... He was a formatted form of Yahweh. To be a formatted form of Yahweh, you've got to begin with the very substance of Yahweh.
That's right.
You with me? Are you with me?
Yes.
To be renewed covenant in Israel, you've got to be the ancient 12 tribes that Yahweh works in the potter's house. For he is the potter, and we are the clay. And he doesn't toss away the clay, but he says, Jeremiah, go down to the potter's house, for there you will see the clay of the house of Israel, and my love for the people of Israel. For I don't take another lump, I take the same lump and recast it and reshape it and make it another. And that's who Yahshua is. He's a form, he is the very form of Yahweh, become flesh. Look, who being in the form of Elohim, did not regard equality with Elohim a matter to be grasped. You with me?
Yes.
The way this is written in the Greek, brothers and sisters, very important. Listen. The Greek word here, the form of Elohim, who did not regard equality with Elohim, okay, to be a matter to be grasped. Why? Why is not something he had to strive for? You and I have to strive to be like Elohim. We have to seek to be like Elohim. We have to pray to be like Elohim. We have to be disciplined to be like Elohim. For Yahweh disciplines every son whom he receiveth, and scourges every son, Hebrews 12. We have to be disciplined and conformed and molded and shaped and taken around the bend until we what? Show forth Elohim. It's something for us to what? To look forward to grasp, to press forward to the mark of the high calling of Yahweh in Messiah Yeshua. But how come Yeshua didn't have to grasp for it? How come he did not grasp equality with Yahweh, something to live for, something that was one of his goals, one of his missions on the earth?
Because he already was.
Why grasp for something you already have? The Greek word here for, watch this, the Greek word here for, watch, equality is the Greek word morphe. Morphe. He did not regard equality, morphe, something to be grasped at. Why? Verse 7, he emptied himself, taking the form of a servant, came to be in the likeness of men. Why didn't he try to grasp to be in the likeness of Yahweh? He already was in the likeness of Yahweh. He was the form, the manifested form of Yahweh that took on flesh. The brought forth Son in eternity past, who was begotten into the flesh. And so he didn't have to grasp equality with Yahweh. He had to what? He had to empty himself of his what? Attributes of divinity in order to grasp man's infirmities. What he was grasping for, listen, what he was grasping for was to be like you, not like his father, because he was already like his father.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Somebody's getting this.
Hallelujah.
Just the opposite than you and me. Just the opposite. We have to grasp to be like our Heavenly Father. Yeshua didn't need to grasp that. He needed to grasp the staleness and the frustrated human condition and the dysfunctional human condition. He had to grasp, but in order to grasp our pain, in order to grasp our suffering, in order to grasp our confusion, in order to grasp our lack, in order to grasp our melancholic depression and to know what it's like to be bummed out. Because Yeshua, as Yahweh, never knew what it was like to be bummed out. Turn to your neighbor and say, you're not bummed out, are you? You're going to be bummed out. Not today, please. Not on Shabbos. So Yeshua's problem was not in that he had to try to become Yahweh so he can relate to his Heavenly Father. His problem was to try to relate to you and to try to relate to me. And so he had to kenosis. The Greek word there, he was already morphe Yahweh. What does morphe Yahweh mean? Equal with Yahweh, or of the equal substance as his father Yahweh. So in order to become the Son of Man, since he was already Yahweh the Son, to become the Son of Man, he had to do something. I've got some more to cover, so please don't get agitated with me. Just stretch. There you go. There you go, stretch. Jumping jacks. Here it's not jumping jacks. I can't tell you to do jumping jacks. Here it's jumping Jacobs. Jumping Jacobs. So, since Yahshua was equal, the word in verse 6, morphe Yahweh, which means a shared nature with Yahweh. Amen? Equal to Yahweh, isos, the Greek word also is isos, or exactly like Yahweh. Look at verse 7. He emptied himself. What's the Greek word for emptied? Thank you. Excellent. One of my front row students. That's what happens when you come on Wednesday nights. And by the way, you need to be, we got to pick up Wednesday nights, or I'm going to take measure number 2. We need to be here on Wednesday nights. I don't care how bad the week is going. I need you and you need me. And we all need the word of Yahweh. I want to see Wednesday nights pick up. Okay? Please. Please, there's some very good teaching going on and some good interaction. Please try to make it on Wednesday nights. Amen. We'll sidetrack. Verse 7. He canailed himself. He what? Emptied himself, taking on the form of a servant, not taking on the form of Yahweh. Why? He already had that form. In administrations and eternity and ages past, he already had that form. So he didn't grasp that form because he already had it. And he emptied himself. What? If he wasn't Yahweh, he would have had to what? Raise himself up. To grasp something that was out of his reach. Are you with me? Yes. But because he already was Isos, exactly like Yahweh, Morphe, one with Yahweh, what did he do? He canailed himself. He divested himself of the attributes of deity. Why? How many places was Yeshua at one time when he was on earth? One place at one time. Amen. Was Yeshua omniscient when he was on the earth? No, he was not. He didn't know the day or the hour he was coming. So he set aside voluntarily some of his omniscience, some of his omnipotence attributes. He didn't stop being the form of Yahweh. He was always the form of Yahweh as he was in eternity past. He chose, listen, to set aside voluntarily some of the things he could have done but didn't do because he came to start grasping. His mission, his goal, his purpose was to grasp who you are and what pain you suffer and what depression you suffer and what confusion you suffer and what marital infidelity is all about. He came to identify with you.
Amen.
Because he was already fully identified not just with his Father but as his Father.
Amen.
Praise Yahweh for Yahusha. Second person? Nope. The Word in him. That's the one who became my Savior. And he didn't have to grasp equality with Yahweh, for he was Yahweh. He came to grasp what I'm going through. Because unless you're a human being, and the Word says he was a man of like passions as we are, yet without sin. What was the difference between Yahshua and you and me? Sin. He had the same feelings, the same emotions. Yahshua wept. Yahshua was hungry. Yahshua cried. What was the difference? The difference was he was sinless.
Amen.
The only thing separated you and me from Yahshua. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Now we're going to move. I got to cover a few more things. How many are going to give me 10 more minutes? Can I hear 11? 11? Can I hear 12? 11? So Yahshua was not separate from Yahweh, but he was in Yahweh, and he was not a separate person. Wait a second, it's clear that Yahshua is a second person. I mean, it's clear, is it not? In the flesh, he's not the Father. If he's not the Father, he's the Son. If he's the Son, he's a second person. So what are we talking about here? See, the problem is, you and I are human beings. That's the problem. That's the source of all our problems. We're trying to understand the infinite in the finite and the immortal with mortality. So when I tell you there was no 2 persons, 3 persons, Trinity garbage in heaven, y'all get angry at me, and all those religious demonic spirits, those religious spirits pop up ready to crucify me afresh. Of course there was a second person. You have to be an idiot not to acknowledge Yeshua separate from his Father. But the question is, at what side of glory? That's the question. And at what point did a second person come into existence? Are you with me?
Yes.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. If you understand the creation of the heavens and the earth, you'll understand everything I'm teaching. The earth was taken out of water. The heavens were taken out of water. Yahshua was taken out of his Father. And like your child, once he's released from your loins, he ain't you and you ain't him. Where was your daughter before she was your daughter? In your loins. In your womb, ladies. I don't know why I'm pointing to my stomach. I'm not a lady. But once that conception took place and that being was released, it became a second person. But wait a second, was not that baby sucking on your umbilical cord? Wasn't that baby one with you? Wasn't that baby inside of you? Don't tell me there were two persons when that baby was attached to your umbilical cord. Don't tell me there were two persons. But also don't tell me when that baby was released into the world to get married and have children and be an adult and be mature, don't tell me that they still walked around with an umbilical cord. So the one became two. There's your mystery. Can you fathom it? I'm just going to close. I'm just going to obey the Ruach. I got more. I want to keep preaching, but it's the second week in a row Yahweh wants me to give you this in small increments. I don't understand it. I want to keep preaching. You want to see what I covered, brothers and sisters? Started here and I got here. Not progress, but Yahweh showing forth what He wanted. Are you with me? Right now I'm in a tug of war. I got so much more to give you. And meat. This is not string beans. This is not sweet peas with onions. This is not bird's eye. This is Yahweh's side eye. And see that, and I close with this. You see, that's the problem. The problem is we're going to fight, Oh, no, I don't go to that place because, they believe in the Trinity, 3 persons. Yes, the Trinity is pagan, 100%. 100%. When you do the study and the homework that we've done, you will understand the Trinity is pagan. Well, does that mean that Yahweh doesn't have a son who is in fact a second person? Of course He has a second person. Don't shut down yet. Stay with me. Of course He has a second person. But when the Son was in the Father, as the Word, was there a second person? Before your daughter was born, where was your daughter?
Inside of you.
And there was one person feeding on the same food, feeding on the same sustenance, feeding on the same nutrition, feeding on the sameness, echad.
Amen.
You and your daughter, you and your son, you and the fruit of your womb were echad.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
But you didn't remain echad. Oh, yet you remained echad, but in a separated echad. You were able to release that child into the world,
Hallelujah.
and yet be one with your daughter and one with your son, and yet being separate and yet being one.
Oh, that's good, Rabbi.
You were able to release your child, your daughter, your son as a mature adult to grow up, go to college, be educated, and go out into the world as a separate entity, and yet always to the day you die, echad, one with you.
Hallelujah.
That's what happened in the gospel. That's the way Yahusha administered heavens in the past. That's the way He's going to administer your future Yerushalayim.
That's right.
Study creation. He takes everything out of the water. He took that child out of your womb.